Today we're making a beautiful, fully lined Christmas stocking that's quick, easy and perfect for beginners. In just 10 minutes, you'll learn how to create a festive stocking that's both functional and customizable. For a personal touch, I've stitched out names using an embroidery machine, but don't worry, this can also be done by hand or skipped altogether if you prefer. Whether you're making a thoughtful gift or adding a charm to your own holiday decor, this project is fun, simple and perfect for the season. Let's jump in. First, gather your materials. You'll need two types of fabric, one for the outer layer and one for the lining. If your outer fabric isn't thick enough, you'll also need interfacing to give it some structure. I will be making 4 Christmas stockings for the whole family. For the outer fabric, I'm using a mix of green and beige fabric for a festive look, and for the inside, I've chosen a soft, fluffy fabric to make the lining cozy. For my 4 stockings, I've used 1.5 meters of each fabric, so the outer fabric in both colors and the inner fabric, the lining, with a standard width of 140 centimeters. For one stocking, 1 meter of fabric should be more than enough for both layers, but keep in mind that if you are using a patterned fabric, you may need extra to ensure proper alignment or directional cutting. Planning ahead for fabric layout is especially important if you're working with stripes, plaids or any other specific design. Next, I'm using an old Christmas stocking to trace the shape for this project. Simply lay it flat, trace around it on paper or directly onto your fabric. If you don't have an old Christmas stocking, let me know if you'd like me to share mine, the one that I've just created. And please check the description box where I might already have included the link. Here I've added 14 centimeters to the top of the Christmas stocking pattern to make it taller. This extra length will create a cuff that can be rolled over for a nice finished look at the top of the stocking. If you do create your own pattern, make sure that this top portion is slightly wider than the rest of the stocking. This will ensure that when you roll over the cuff, it lays nicely and looks neat. Don't forget to add 0.5 centimeter seam allowance, and then you can go ahead and cut out your pattern. You'll need to cut out 2 pieces out of your outer fabric and 2 pieces out of your lining fabric. Next, I plugged in my embroidery machine, which I hadn't used in about a year, and honestly, I was nervous about whether it would even work or if I'd remember how to use it. After a few failed attempts, I finally figured out the best way to embroider names on this type of fabric and the best font for it. It's always a bit of trial and error, but in the end it worked out fine. If you don't have an embroidery machine, no worries, you can easily skip this step or hand stitch the name instead. To create a hanging tab for your stocking, take some scrap lining fabric and cut out a strip that measures 12 centimeters by 5 centimeters. Fold it in half along the longer side, sew it, then turn it right side out using a pencil or a turning tool, and set it aside for now. Now you should have 2 pieces of outer fabric and 2 pieces of your lining fabric, plus the tab we just sewn. Place the outer fabric pieces right sides facing each other and sew along the edges, leaving the top of the stocking open. After sewing, turn the stocking right side out. To ensure it lays flat once turned right side out, snip around the edges of the fabric like this. Place your 2 lining pieces right sides facing each other. Measure 12 centimeters from the top of your stocking downwards. This is where we want to add the hanging tab, so place it inside. Basically, you'll need to sandwich it in between those two layers and pin it in place. Then further down, place two pins that are about 10 centimeters apart from each other. And this is the gap we are going to leave open to make sure we can turn our stocking right side out once it's finished. Now you can go ahead and sew all around the edge of the fabric, leaving that opening open, and the top of the stocking as well, and make sure you sew back and forth over that hanging tab so that your stocking will be able to hold whatever you want to place inside of it. So if there's anything heavy inside, you need to make sure this stitch will hold it. After you're done sewing your lining, take your scissors and do the same exact thing you did for the outer fabric. So snip around the edge of the fabric, especially where there are curves. This is going to reduce bulk as we turn this right side out. Now you need to turn your lining right side out. It's also a good time to iron everything to make sure everything lays nice and flat. Take your lining and stuff it inside the outer layer of your stocking, which is still wrong side out. That's exactly how it's supposed to be, so that the inner layers are right sides facing each other. So one more time, the lining is right side out, so you have turned it right side out after sewing it, and the outer layer, so the green fabric in my case, is still wrong side out. Next, you're going to pin all around the top of your Christmas stocking and then sew it using a straight stitch. Make sure the side stitches are matching. Next, you're going to turn your stocking right side out. To do this, reach into the stocking and locate that 10 centimeter gap we left open in the lining. Gently pull the stocking through the gap and turn it right side out. Once you've turned your stocking right side out, take the cap in the lining and sew it closed. You can fold the edges of the fabric inwards and sew it closed using a straight stitch. It's on the inside of the stocking, so it won't be visible. You can use a sewing machine and just do a straight stitch. Once your stocking is right side out, neatly arrange the lining inside the outer fabric. Fold the cuff over to create a nice finished edge and make sure the fold is even for a polished look. And there you have it, a beautiful fully lined Christmas stocking that's perfect for the holidays. Whether you personalize it or leave it as is, this stocking adds a special touch to your festive decor. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for even more beginner-friendly sewing tutorials. Happy sewing and happy holidays!